Hello, my name is Jaden George, and for today's speech, I'm going to start it out by asking you a question. So, if you think about it really hard, have you ever listened to a song that took you back to a certain memory? This song had connected you to this moment, and you can visualize it when you hear the song. Maybe it was more prominent, maybe it was just a moment that you were really enjoying yourself. Well, I've done research and I have learned based on experience that music actually has the ability to connect people to a similar outlet of emotion and memory to themselves and to others around them. So, music is such a healthy outlet. It can help to improve people's memory, it can connect people, and it can also heal people. So, for starters, jumping in, music can take people back to a certain era, a time, a place, or event. So, people are reminded, this improves people's memory while listening to and singing or performing music, which reactivates areas of the brain that are associated with memory, speech, reasoning, emotion, and reward. So there have been case studies that based on memory and after music accompanied exercises for some therapy, which I'll get into a little while more on the therapy side, but it's been known that this actually really helps and improves people's memory. So if you think about it, children sometimes have been taught, at least I was taught through music, learning my times tables. So children react better to music when they're younger and they encode things better in their mind, because I still use my times table songs that I made when I was younger and they're still very prominent in my life. It's a little embarrassing, but it's okay. But yeah, so memory event reminders. So being at a specific event, such as a concert, this is an example, can serve as an encoded memory so that every time an individual hears a song, they may be reminded of that concert. Maybe they were with friends and it was just a great moment for everyone and it was memorable. So that song can remind people of those times that they had when they were younger, or just remind them in general. So whenever people have gatherings or anything where they're together, there's socializing happening, oftentimes, like for example, retirement parties or weddings or things where things are being celebrated. There's almost always music involved. The national anthem is a really good example of this, because when I say that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The effect of the national anthem has such a strong impact on society still to this day. Whenever people stand to honor the flag, we're standing as a country united, and this is one of our strongest bonds that we have as a country. Absolutely, for sure. Eras of people categorize the different types of music that we listen to. So my grandparents, they listen to a different era of music, but whenever they go to their jazz nights, the jazz dance nights, the swing dance, the ballroom dance, they meet other people there that they connect with better than people now, because they have that memory of music types that they all had in common at one point. So time difference and era, it plays a big role in this. Also, the emotion depicted in certain songs can give people a connection to someone who has experienced what they're going through. So when you're listening to a song, you might think of your situation that you're going through at the time, and you might kind of morph it into what they're going through as well, so that you feel like someone's gone through what you have, and it makes you feel better. So this builds a strong emotional bond that can be emotionally supportive for the listener to the person singing, or just to the song in general. So also, music has the ability to heal people. So one of these techniques, like I said before, is music therapy. So music is used in many different types of therapy, which I did not know until recently, but music therapy studies have shown that singing lyrics can be very helpful to people recovering from a brain injury or a stroke especially, where there's been damage on the left side of the brain, which is responsible for speech. Michael Friedman, who is a music therapist, explains the benefits of this therapy and how it works. He says that music therapy research also shows its effectiveness in decreasing anxiety for individuals with dementia. So it has been shown that even when individuals lose the ability to speak, they can still communicate through song, which is much more typical than when you would actually just regularly speak. But people actually are able to sing more quickly than they are progressively getting better at speaking. So I actually have experienced this firsthand personally. It's a little bit of an emotional story, but my grandma last year had a stroke during my birthday. And she was paralyzed completely, but half of her face mainly was the sole focus of the stroke because it never fully recovered, and she still has to go to speech therapy. But during that time, I had to drive her around, and I went to her speech therapy with her. And that's actually the field that I want to go into now because it was so interesting. The lady told me everything that I needed to know about it. But yeah, so it's amazing how quickly she was able to sing before she was able to actually speak. So it can also help with emotional suffering. First of all, music has positive physical effects. It can produce direct biological changes, such as reducing heart rate, blood pressure, and cortisol levels. So it's very helpful for that as well. So finally, at the end of the day, we truly could not see our lives without music. I know I can't. It's not only important for individual pleasure, but it's also important for memory purposes. It can serve as such a good memory holder, and it can remind us of certain times in our lives. Someday we'll remember these days that we're going through now, and we'll remember what type of music we were listening to. It can help us connect, and it can help us to heal. No matter how different people can be, music has the ability to connect us and help us to understand what others are going through as well as ourselves, where we see deeper into ourselves, and we can learn how to cope through other people who have experienced it as well, because we shouldn't feel like we're alone in certain situations. We need to feel like we have someone that can relate to us. So we can learn that we are able to relate with others much more than we may think, even just through music. So it's an amazing outlet, and it does so much for everyone. And yes, music is great. So thank you guys for listening so much. I appreciate it, and yeah, stay safe.